This is CNN.
They've lost their homes, they've had inadequate food and water. Now disease threatens the Florida victims of Hurricane Andrew.
Saddam Hussein accuses Western allies of coveting Iraqi oil and vows to defy the Allied no-fly zone, but doesn't say how.
The Clinton campaign charges the incumbent isn't playing fair on the issues of God and taxes. But the Bush people keep up the attacks on taxes, while both sides are urged to keep God out of presidential politics.
This is Prime News Sunday on CNN with Andrea Arsenault at CNN Center in Atlanta and David French in Washington.
Thanks for joining us. The storm is long past, but many victims of Hurricane Andrew are battling to survive and rebuild their lives. Today's rain made that job more difficult. The rain is creating a new danger by adding extra weight to weakened roofs, and standing water is providing a fertile breeding ground for insects and disease. More on how people are coping with the destruction from CNN's Brian Jenkins.
From the air, South Dade County still looks torn and twisted. But on the ground, more and more hurricane survivors are starting to put their homes and lives back together.
Get this side!
The camps that U.S. Army commanders plan to put up for the homeless on Saturday have started to come together, and the general in charge bristled at questions about the delay.
No, I did what I was told, and we were down here on Friday, and we're going to get on with it. We're just getting on with it.
Outside a tent set up to hand out government checks for Social Security, unemployment, welfare, hundreds of people waited in line, broiling under the Florida sun. A few tempers ran hot.
This is my ID. Look, I got my pocketbook right here.
And I thought you said you didn't have ID.
But most folks tried to stay cool, figuring there was no hurry to collect their checks.
If we have money, it shouldn't make no difference. We can't buy anything down here anyway.
At a growing number of distribution points, though, people could pick up clothes and food and ice for free. To serve those who couldn't leave their damaged homes, Mike Morales left his home in Hollywood, Florida at 5 in the morning to pass out canvas tarps and clothes and shoes to strangers in remote areas.
I came to pick up my daughter the day after the storm, and I just can't stop it. It's terrible what's happened to these people. I mean, we're lucky. I lost a branch of a tree.
At makeshift clinics, volunteer doctors and nurses are treating a rising number of ailments and injuries.
Sprained ankles and sprained joints,
cuts,
and cuts, a bunch
abrasions.
of cuts, diarrheas.
We're having a special on tetanus shots.
Medical teams made house calls, too, checking up on people too busy or, in the case of illegal immigrants here, too afraid to seek help. When this man declined to come down from repairing a roof, this medic climbed right up to administer a tetanus shot. Doctors here can expect to keep busy for months as the debris and dirty water continue to breed disease and the strains of repair work spawn injuries. As if cleaning up weren't tough enough, the hurricane survivors must also cope with drying out after the summer squalls that have soaked this area most every afternoon since Andrew roared by. Soldiers decked out this Ronald McDonald for stormy weather, but many civilians around Homestead have nothing left to wear except the shirts on their backs. No wonder then that Andrew's victims are praying Mother Nature will start to give them a break. Brian Jenkins, CNN, Homestead, Florida.
The Army's Chief of Staff flew to southern Florida today to take charge of the military's relief effort. General Gordon Sullivan says 20,000 federal troops eventually will have hurricane relief duty, and nearly 7,000 already are on the job. He says that job is to attend to the most serious problems, including providing basic needs and helping in reconstruction. The first of more than 1,200 Army tents promised since Friday to house the hurricane homeless began going up tonight. And many victims and local officials are still complaining of what they perceive as a slow federal response. But the Bush administration is still defending its reaction.
We're learning a lot as we go through this once-in-a-lifetime crisis. Now, recognize that this disaster was far different than any other disaster that we've had in this country. We anticipated a disaster. Local government did, state government did, and the federal government did. And we were ready for a disaster. We were not ready for the massive disaster that took place. This is much worse than anyone could have anticipated.
A National Security Advisor Brent Scowcroft concedes some delay happened because regular disaster procedures were followed, and Hurricane Andrew wasn't a regular disaster.
The White House has reached agreement on an emergency food stamp program for eligible people in Louisiana who suffered losses from the hurricane. $15 million in additional benefits will be available. Some 25,000 people are said to be displaced. But even for people who lost their homes, there is still something to be thankful for. More from CNN's Greg Lamont.
Come on, let's go. Hurry up.
Just a typical Sunday in the Ori house, getting ready to go to church in Laplace, Louisiana.
You got knots, babe. Don't put it in the bread?
All 10 children and 2 parents. 12 people very thankful to be alive with a roof over their heads and food in their stomachs. You see, last week, they were living in this house when a tornado spawned by Hurricane Andrew slammed into it.
I was sitting on my bed and the window cracked and it was all over. You know, the glass was all over.
The roar of the train is on us. It's going to hit the house. So I grabbed the babies and ran to them and laid down, and we were all there safe, and then boom.
The boom was the tornado ripping the roof off their house. When they ran to escape, they said the neighborhood looked like an eerie battle zone.
It's one thing to read about it in the paper, and hurricane struck Miami, and it's so remote to you. When it's right in your living room, it brings it home close, and you can identify with the people. Especially the ones who were less fortunate than we were.
Within hours, dozens of friends and neighbors helped the Ories move to another house until they can get theirs fixed.
I've always believed in miracles, but this one here is a special one, yeah.
For Carolyn Mouse and Dorothy Hughes, there won't be any fixing. A tornado completely destroyed their trailer home. And believe it or not, they were both inside, along with Hughes' 5-year-old daughter, when the tornado leveled their home.
We were on this end where the mirror is, the 3 of us hanging on for dear life to each other. And it ripped this bay window completely up, like I said, like a can of sardines.
All 3 were somehow able to get out without serious injuries.
We worship you, we give you thanks, we praise you for.
There is sadness at the loss of one's belongings, but most folks around here say, by the grace of God, they've still got their lives and their families. Greg Lamont, CNN, Laplace, Louisiana.
Just ahead on Prime News. The so-called no-fly zone in southern Iraq has some tempers soaring in Baghdad. Even the Iraqi president has something to say on the subject. At 14 minutes past the hour, why the no-fly zone is giving air traffic controllers in the area a headache. At 20 minutes past, hope and support for some young cancer patients. And at 50 past, a golden idea for America's graying population.
Let's clear the air. Despite what some headache pain relievers may have led you to believe, there's something to relieve pain that almost everyone can take without simple stomach upset. What is it? Genuine Bayer, America's #1 aspirin. Let's look at arthritis pain relievers in a new light. While extra-strength Tylenol relieves aches and pains, for arthritis inflammation it does nothing. What does reduce the inflammation, stiffness, swelling, and pain? Genuine Bayer, America's #1 aspirin.
P.U. Nasty, rotten mildew stains. Try X14 Mildew Stain Remover. Compare 3 sprays of Tilex to just 1 of X14. In minutes, the X14 side is cleaner without scrubbing. Proof X14 is better.
Hey, is Tegrin shampoo on sale?
Nope, that's their new lower price.
But it's still just as tough on dandruff, right?
Sure, Tegrin doesn't do less, just costs less.
Sounds right to me.
Tegrin, the right dandruff shampoo at the right price.
Last time I stained my house with that other brand. This time, I'm using Thompson's stain.
Only Thompson's House and Deck Stain contains Thompson's Water Seal. It waterproofs better than even the leading brand's premium stain.
Now that's beautiful protection.
Thompson's Stain.
At 84 Lumber, we still believe in the American dream. So we've made that dream an affordable reality. 84 affordable homes across America. The most complete home building package on the market. Priced from $39.9 to $69.9. With top-name brands like Knapp Fiberglass and Louisiana Pacific, now is the time to build. Our team of home specialists will work with you from start to finish. Visit an 84 Lumber near you or call 1-800-359-8484.
Discover secrets that may turn the history of the pyramids upside down.
I'm Robert Urich. Join me on location in Egypt for a whole new season of Explorer, only on TBS.
National Geographic Explorer, 9 Eastern tonight, exclusively on PBS.
For now, Baghdad is keeping its planes out of the no-fly zone in southern Iraq. But Saddam Hussein is continuing his war of words with the United States. CNN's Richard Roth reports signs of tension can be found throughout Iraq.
Saying he wanted to clarify the facts, Saddam Hussein has made his first public comment on the no-flight zone in the south. Through a spokesman on national television, the Iraqi president vowed to resist the flight ban, but once again stopped short of saying how. It was instead a call to patriotism. He accused the West of pitting Iraq's ethnic and religious sects against each other. Some of the strongest comments were directed at neighboring Iran. He said Tehran was siding with the U.S., Great Britain, and France to send saboteurs through the marshes to destroy Iraq. The Iraqi president said partitioning of the country and control of the region's oil are what the West is really after. Warning against destabilization of Iraq, Saddam Hussein pointed to Yugoslavia and the former Soviet Union and said, "Look what is happening there." While Iraq considers how to cope with the no-fly zone in the air, it must also decide how to handle United Nations weapons inspectors on the ground. The latest inspection tour begins Monday. The last group left without encountering problems. It departed on the heels of a U.S. newspaper report that the Bush administration was attempting to provoke a confrontation involving a ministry inspection. It is widely believed in Washington and Baghdad that should the next team be blocked in any way, the Allies will use force somewhere in Iraq. Even humanitarian workers and the guards of the United Nations are a possible flashpoint. A Swedish guard has been shot, and officials say a bomb was found attached to a UN car in the north. The harassment includes watermelons through windshields and graffiti on UN vehicles. The no-fly zone is making it even harder to complete a new humanitarian aid agreement with Iraq.
Certain clouds which have come over this part of the world are affecting the whole atmosphere.
The director of humanitarian operations meets with his coordinators every Sunday morning. Security, including evacuation plans, are always part of the conversation, but he has not given up hope on a new agreement with the Iraqis.
You start from a point of view that you're going to lose or that you're not going to be able to do anything, you will not be doing anything. You have to sort of approach the whole thing in a constructive mood and try your best. I still am reasonably optimistic.
They were jumping below the 32nd parallel in Basra on Sunday, but only for fun. Saddam Hussein appears eager to cool down the tension level. The Iraqi president said he could understand if the young are burning with wrath, but he said the leadership is following God's wishes for patience. His Ba'ath Party leaders agree. Saddam Hussein's remarks to the Iraqi people have not changed the battle lines with the UN Security Council powers. The Iraqi president accuses them of using wicked ways to carve up his country, but he gives no indication he will confront them militarily. Richard Roth, CNN, Baghdad.
A national security advisor, Brent Scowcroft, is warning Baghdad against carrying out a ground assault on Shiite Muslims in southern Iraq. During a broadcast interview today, Scowcroft said Iraq has displayed signs of preparing a ground offensive, and he says the allies have a planned response. A Newsweek magazine reports U.S. Air Force officers in Saudi Arabia are planning an air war over Iraq. A Newsweek says the 30 officers were secretly flown to Riyadh last week. And it reports a contingent of U.S. Army Green Berets are in Kuwait. They are reportedly charged with rescuing downed American pilots in southern Iraq.
Since the imposition of the no-fly zone over southern Iraq, Navy pilots have not encountered any Iraqi planes south of the 32nd parallel. The U.S. commander in the Persian Gulf says the Allies may consider cutting the number of missions that they're flying over the southern marshes. CNN's Tom Mintier reports.
On any given day in the Persian Gulf, the skies are filled with airplanes. Most commercial flights are avoiding the area, but planes loaded with bombs and rockets are plentiful. Every 24 hours, more than 100 sorties are launched from the U.S. aircraft carrier Independence. In addition to naval aviators, U.S. Air Force pilots are also flying from bases in Saudi Arabia. So far, reporters have not been permitted to enter Saudi Arabia. So on Saturday, the U.S. Air Force released a videotape. On it, bombs are shown being taken across runways to planes, and pilots are shown in a briefing room preparing for the first flights inside Iraq. They're also shown at the airport taking off. The Air Force also said on Saturday that they have received some targets during their flights near the 32nd parallel.
There are some military airplanes flying north of 32 North, and of course we monitor that, but it is not a troubling thing. They are doing what they've always been doing.
With so many aircraft flying not only from land bases, but here on the USS Independence aircraft carrier, it's almost like an air traffic controller's nightmare. Planes flying over southern Iraq at all kinds of altitude.
312 concur, fly mode 2.
Keeping track of all the airplanes is the job of these air traffic controllers on the carrier. In a darkened room below the landing strip, radar screens show the fast-moving blips. Each is an airplane. Landing on an aircraft carrier is very difficult. At night, even more so.
And here, how many seconds before they land do they see the runway?
15 seconds.
Should be pretty scary.
Oh, it is.
During the day, you can see further, but there is also more traffic.
I'd say it's much more crowded, but because of the equipment we have with the AWACS and the E2, we have better situational awareness as to where everyone is.
You got E2s, you have AWACS, you have E-86B prowlers are out there also, and F-14s and F-15s.
See any of the British or the French?
Not that I know of.
Since Operation Southern Watch began 3 days ago, hundreds of flights have crisscrossed southern Iraq. Not a single Iraqi plane has been sighted. For most pilots flying the missions, that's just the way they like it. Tom Intier, CNN, aboard the USS Independence in the Persian Gulf.
And just ahead on Prime News.
My name's Joseph Landon. I'm 22 years old. I've been in remission for about almost 16 years.
Inner city kids with cancer find a sympathetic ear. And the GOP goes for the jugular, using God and taxes to attack Governor Clinton. But the Democratic nominee cries foul, and church leaders call time out. Stay with us.
Senator?
Yeah, Jack, come on in.
You wanted to see me?
What happened here?
Senator.
Laura?
Originally, when this cable bill was drafted, our intent was to regulate rates.
That's right.
Now, the way I'm reading it, it's going to raise rates.
Only a few dollars a month.
Yeah, Jack. A few dollars a month.
Could be as much as $3 billion a year if you count all cable customers.
Well, you know what happens. The special interest groups get involved. Before you know it...
One of the reasons is the major broadcast networks want to now start charging cable users extra to watch their programs.
Only cable users? Everyone else will still get these programs for nothing.
That's the way it'll turn out.
And I take it nobody's asked the cable users how they feel about this.
Well, no.
Pleasant trip, Mr. Conklin. Your room's ready. Full kitchen. Comfy living room with fireplace.
It's heaven.
We think so. After all, you'll be staying with us for quite a while.
Tell me, do all business travelers come here?
Oh, no. I'm afraid some are sent to other hotel rooms.
Residence Inn by Marriott, the extended stay hotel.
Now that the Cold War's over, it's time to invest at home. Invest in medicine. Invest in the arts. Technology. Housing. And in education. And when you think about it, when you invest in our children and in our public schools, you invest in everything. Children, our most precious national resource.
The wounded friend of an Idaho fugitive surrendered to authorities today. 24-year-old Kevin Harris is charged with killing a U.S. Marshal in a bloody standoff. But officials say fugitive Randy Weaver remains holed up in his remote mountain cabin in northern Idaho. He's deciding whether to give himself up. Weaver, a white supremacist, says he is also wounded. He's wanted for selling sawed-off shotguns. Law enforcement officers have surrounded Weaver's cabin for nearly 10 days. In addition to the Marshal, Weaver's wife and 14-year-old son have been killed in shootouts. Weaver's 3 young daughters also remain inside the cabin.
The world's first recipient of a baboon liver transplant has developed an infection and is in serious condition. But hospital officials in Pittsburgh say there's no sign the patient is rejecting the organ. The patient is a 35-year-old man who has requested anonymity. He underwent the historic surgery in June at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. He was suffering from hepatitis B, a potentially fatal liver disease. He opted to try the baboon liver because another human liver would have also become infected.
Poverty can add an extra cost to the price of living with cancer. It's even tougher if the person with cancer is a teenager. In today's News from Medicine report, Patty Panicia reports on some inner-city teens putting a positive perspective on their illness.
Seated around an informal conference room, these children have gathered to share stories. They all have one thing in common.
I'm 16 years old, and I was diagnosed with leukemia, and I'm still on treatment.
My name's Jillian. I'm 13 years old, and I had a benign brain tumor.
Together, they are finding the strength to fight cancer. Many also have to deal with life in the inner city.
Language, money, getting located, getting help, especially for the medicine.
But some say their cancer has actually been, in part, a benefit by making them aware of new opportunities.
Having cancer, I guess, got me more involved to succeed.
Susie Acosta grew up in South Central Los Angeles.
If it weren't, for cancer, I wouldn't have been where I am today, like going to school and graduating with top honors.
Acosta attends Stanford University on full academic scholarship. Her cancer, now in remission, brought her into contact with doctors, nurses, social workers, and other professionals who encouraged her, and with teenagers from other backgrounds. The support group has taken her on numerous field trips.
Museums, plays, movie. We have a movie night and dinner. So these are things that I would say generally people that are from the inner city may not have the opportunity to do on a regular basis.
Things that David Correa, treated for a brain tumor, probably would not have done.
Before I used to get S and math, now I get like A's and B's.
Principally, then you take...
Since getting cancer, Correa's concentrated on school and steered clear of the gangs his older brother was once involved with. Some say they've learned good coping skills, which they apply to other problems. And others say it's given them a new outlook.
I'm happy that it happened because it made me think about things, and it just, made me realize that life is valuable, and, you only have one chance.
One chance to make the most of things around them. Patty Panicia for CNN, Los Angeles.
News from Medicine is brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb Company, makers of Bufferin. For strong aspirin pain relief, discover the strength of Bufferin.
Boy, this couch weighs a ton. Where does it go, Miss Lansbury?
Oh, right there, please. Wow, if I lifted that, I'd need Bufferin for the aches and pains afterwards.
You really believe in Bufferin?
I certainly do.
It's strong, huh?
Extra strength Bufferin has the strongest dosage of aspirin that you can buy. And I've discovered that the buffers don't weaken it. They just help prevent aspirin stomach upset.
Shouldn't you discover the strength of Bufferin? And for nighttime aches, pains, and sleeplessness, try Bufferin AF Nighttime. It's aspirin-free.
On CNN tomorrow, cleaning up after Andrew. How much will taxpayers pay? On Morning News. Then on Cryer and Company, should schools have daily condom giveaways? All tomorrow on CNN.
I think I'm going to need some more.
Dear Thompsons, while protecting our deck, we ran out of Thompson's water seal.
And so did the local store.
Reluctantly, we finished with another brand.
How do we know it's going to work like Thompson's?
What a mistake. The Thompson side beat it up in the rain.
The other side, nothing.
Thompson's Water Seal has 50% more active ingredients for more waterproofing power.
Even the clerk agreed. Nothing works like Thompson's.
Sincerely, Blair and Becky Jones,
Charlotte, North Carolina.
You were here. He has the traveler's checks here. That is the problem.
Well, was. Now there's American Express Travelers checks for 2. The first checks either of you can use. Don't leave home without them.
New Yoplait fat-free. Fruit in the bottom. Active yogurt cultures. Not 1 ounce of fat. That's why Mary Hamilton does it every day. Smooth, creamy Yoplait. Do it for you.
And the clock is ticking. Governor Pete Wilson is waiting, and California lawmakers are still arguing over cuts in the state budget. Before a 2-month-old financial or state financial crises can end with a governor's signature on a new budget, the General Assembly must first pass several bills putting specific numbers to deep cuts in education, welfare, and local governments. Votes are expected late tonight. According to the California Constitution, the legislative session ends midnight Monday.
George Bush and Bill Clinton are taking a break from the campaign trail today. President Bush is at Camp David. Clinton is in Little Rock. He just released a new commercial touting his record in Arkansas. But as Eileen Pincus reports, a war of words is underway about some taxing information.
In Washington, the vice president was on the tax attack again, claiming a vote for Bill Clinton means a vote for higher taxes.
He will raise taxes on every single worker in America. That is a fact.
Well, that's not true. The only tax increase we propose is a tax on the upper 2% of the American people.
That's not the only tax claim that has Bill Clinton on the defensive. The Bush campaign is refusing to back down from its accusation that this state legislative handbook shows Clinton raised Arkansas taxes and fees 128 times. The Clinton campaign, while conceding the handbook is official, disputes the Republican accounting. Al Gore denied the attack is effective, but repeated accusations the Bush campaign is lying because they think it will work.
And if they continue saying this, it is a classic example of the propaganda big lie technique to just try to make something real by constant repetition.
Meanwhile, President Bush was being criticized on another front, religion. 23 religious leaders signed a letter to Bush objecting to his recent statements that anyone running for president had to believe in God, and for chastising the Democrats for not including God in their party platform.
I was struck by the fact that the other party took words to put together their platform, but left out 3 simple letters, G-O-D.
Thomas Jefferson would roll over in his grave to think that the head of a major party would claim that God was on their side.
Another group of 50 religious leaders and scholars sent both Bush and Clinton a letter saying God is neither Democrat nor Republican and asking both to refrain from any further attacks based on religion. In the end, a Democratic pollster says voters will demand a return to other issues.
The polls show that what the public wants is to deal with the economy and to deal with education and health care. That's where the candidates will have to come back to, one way or another.
The Democrats insist these latest Republican attacks about God and taxes will have little impact on the voters. Nonetheless, with the polls narrowing, they are spending a great deal of their time answering them. Eileen Pincus for CNN, Washington.
Coming up on Prime News, Toronto tries to salvage a split in its 4-game series with division rival Milwaukee.
Also, how celebrity faces are putting a new social spin on the disease of AIDS.
How life after retirement can be busy for some senior citizens living in a special community in California.
And how television pictures can affect your heart and help change the world.
How low can you go? Find out how much you can save on your next car or truck by making your best buy at Capital. After 55 years in business, if they can't come up with your best buy, who can?
At Capital Chevrolet Geo, your best buys include a 92 Chevy Lumina 4-door for only $11,999. Save over $3,200 and pay only $189.75 per month. This is not a lease. See it today, drive it home tonight.
Get your best buy today and every day at Capital.
There's a special kind of feeling, a special kind of trust that comes when you call cooks. A special kind of knowing, a special satisfaction that comes when you call the best. Looky, 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 here comes Cookie, Cook's Pest Control.
This is CNN.
Here's a check of the top stories here on Prime News. Saddam Hussein is vowing to defy the U.S.-led ban on Iraqi flights in southern Iraq. A spokesman read his message on Iraqi TV today. Mr. Hussein accused the allies of plotting to divide his nation and to siege Iraqi oil. The Iraqi president didn't say how he would challenge the no-fly zone. Well, so far, U.S. warplanes patrolling below the 32nd parallel have not seen any sign of Iraqi aircraft. Navy pilots from the USS Independence have flown more than 100 missions a day since Thursday. U.S. troops continue the hurricane relief effort in southern Florida. Among other things, they're bringing more than 5,000 portable toilets. Army tents to house some of the homeless are going up tonight. Officials say more than 20,000 troops are bound for Florida. Meanwhile, in Louisiana, hurricane victims filled damaged churches today, giving thanks for their lives. Other victims endured a 6th day without electricity, and they lined up again for food and water.
Where do you turn when your home is in shambles, your sentimental belongings tattered, and your morale sinking? Many hurricane victims are finding strength in family, friends, and religion. CNN's Bonnie Anderson has more on how residents in Homestead, Florida are focusing on faith today.
Singing from hymnals still wet from Andrew's fury, Homestead's faithful flocked to church this morning for comfort, for guidance, for answers.
Lord have mercy.
Most of these churchgoers lost their homes, many their livelihoods. Still, they are grateful they and their loved ones are alive.
Oh yeah, you better believe it. I got a family. That's it. That's number one, you know. If we have to live in a shack the rest of our life, we still have family.
We can either look back or we can look forward. We make a new beginning. We are a new community.
Among those offering prayers today, migrant workers who are now homeless and jobless, and people involved in the cleanup effort. Even officers of the peace came to pray for peace. Indeed, these people believe their prayers saved their lives.
We just said a lot of Our Fathers and Hail Marys, and
it was very calming. It was very satisfying. It was relaxing. I said them aloud.
We lived it and know now that you can't underestimate the power of prayer. He's really there.
They've lost so much, their homes, their community, but not their faith, and that, says Pastor Thomas Honnold, strengthened him.
To look in the faces this morning and see the tears, to see the pain, to listen to the stories of each person that explained it all week is surely a heartbreaking experience for me. At the same time, as I look into those eyes, I also see a sense of hope, a sense of willingness to go on, and that becomes also a sense of support for me personally.
Good to see you. For many, church was also a meeting place to learn how friends and neighbors fared.
I feel more fortunate than a lot of people, and I lost a house, but the thing is, I still have a job. Thank God you're safe.
But for those who could not leave their homes for lack of gasoline or fear of looters, missionary Arthur Blessed came to them to pray, to share their burden.
Father, in the name of Jesus, I pray for Lester, and I thank you, Lord, for sparing his life. And my heart goes out to the people. You see, these people are wanting prayer. And it's Sunday, many churches are closed, and Christ is in the streets. So in a world of darkness, there is hope and there is life.
Bonnie Anderson, CNN, Homestead, Florida.
And we now go to sports with Tom here. What's going on?
Oh, you name it. It's going on. And probably some things you can't name. Some much-needed relief for the beleaguered Blue Jays starting staff. David Cone couldn't rescue them in his first start yesterday. But today, Juan Guzman, the team's ace, stepped off the disabled list up to the mound, and he threw 4 pretty good innings to steady the ship in Sky Dome, salvaging a split in their big 4-game series with Milwaukee. Dante Bichette just get out. Guzman taken out after he reached his pitch count after 4 innings. Take it to the bottom of the third, 2-1 Blue Jays. One aboard, Joe Carter takes Bill Wegman a long, long way. That helps give the Blue Jays a 4-1 lead. Carter's 29th. Bottom of the fourth. Off the bat of Alfredo Griffin, Robin Yount comes up gunning. Kelly Gruber trying to score. Looks to me like he slides up and over the glove, and the ump saw it the same way. 5-1 Jays. They lead the Brewers by 4.5 now. From Skydome to Kingdome, the O's and M's, Baltimore trying to stay just a game and a half back of Toronto. A triple play. You don't see them very often. Here's one. Mike Devereaux takes it to the wall. Jay Buhner, great grab. A little tumble for effect. Up and throwing. Orioles running the bases terribly. They're all over the place. 2 outs right there, and then Randy Milligan is easily tagged out. Fortunately for the Orioles, Rick Sutcliffe going the distance just about. 8 2/3 innings of shutout ball. Greg Olson came on to secure the shutout. The double play part of it. O's win it 2-0. Still trail the East-leading Blue Jays by a game and a half. National League action at the Vet in Philly. Atlanta's Tom Glavine has now lost 2 in a row after winning 13 straight. Tonight is 20th once again after walking 2 in the third. He pays. Ricky Jordan with the 2-run single, making it 3-2 in favor of Philly. Still in the bottom of the third. Bases loaded again, and Glavine now gives up the base hit to Todd Pratt. John Kruk is in. Here comes Ricky Jordan. It's 5-2 Philly. Tommy Glavine is gone again. Another quick outing. 7-2 in favor of the Phillies in the fifth. Ben Rivera, the former Brave, does the job to Ron Gant. A nasty curve. Ron, just get out. Rivera, a 5-hit complete game win. Phillies go away. 10-2 winners easily. Early this evening, the Braves reached into the American League for some bullpen help, picking up baseball's all-time saver Jeff Reardon from the Red Sox through a couple of players to be named later. The players have names, we just don't know what they are till later. Just thought I'd clear that up for you. We're just warming up. Just ahead, we've got the World Series of Golf highlights and Olympic gold medalist Jennifer Capriati is looking prime for the U.S. Open. Right back after this.
Still out there, I think. There's a lot of savings per year on friends and family. The numbers really do add up.
I save $160.97.
I save $63.07.
I save about $8 a year. I save $103.80 over AT&T. Almost $75 a year.
$30.24 per year.
I save $117.45, $68.26 per year.
$31 is $31.
$49.73.
I save because I have MCI and because I have friends and family. I think it works wonderful.
They're tiny portraits of a people. They sing of our heroes and celebrate our homeland. There are as many reasons to love stamps as there are people who love them. These are stamps worth saving. Ask for the wildflower stamps at your post office now.
That Michael? Yeah, starts college next year. How's mine? When Mike told me the price of his first choice, I know what you mean. I got this broker at Payne Weber. She put me in a zero coupon to cover college. Huh. But when did she do that? It's got to be 10, 11 years. 10 years ago? How did she know that's what you needed? She asked.
Of all the things around your house that need batteries, there's one thing that needs a good, fresh battery most of all. See your Allstate agent for a free home fire safety brochure. And please, check the battery in your smoke detector often.
We're back. Mother Nature teed off on the golfers at the World Series of Golf in Akron, Ohio. Fierce thunderstorms delayed things for about 2.5 hours early in today's final round. So when leader Craig Stadler finally got going, right away, he blew his lead. That's right. That was the look. When you see thunderstorms, you take a hike. Ninth hole, John Cook getting into it early. He missed the birdie attempt, but parred the hole to remain at 2 under. But this is a great putt. Nice.
Oh, look at this
shot. Too bad he couldn't get the birdie to go down. Sixth hole, Mark Calcavecchia shot 63 yesterday. Oh, not today. He bogeyed 4 of the first 8 holes. That was one of them. Not very good. Meanwhile, This is part of Craig Stadler's problems. On the 4th, the double bogey would bring him back to the field. Whoa! Looks like me on the course, but at least he's around the green. But the Walrus drops in a par putt on 18 to become the first double winner of the World Series of Golf. Congratulations to Craig Stadler. Jennifer Capriati's a pretty good pick in the U.S. Open starting tomorrow. She lost a spirited semifinal last year to eventual champ Monica Seles. Today, Cappy defended her Mazda Classic title with a straight set win over Conchita Martinez. A nice backhand there. She bludgeoned the third seed Martinez mostly from the baseline. This is match point. Just rips the forehand. 6-3, 6-2. Capriati now heading into the Open with a big smile. And at the Hamlet Challenge, Peter Korda finished up perhaps his best weekend ever, knocking off Yvonne Lendl to win today's exhibition event. Yesterday, you may recall, he whipped defending U.S. Open champ Stefan Edberg in the semis. We've got the whole day wrapped up for you at 11 p.m. Eastern on CNN Sports Tonight. Right now, we've rolled up all of Sunday's scores just for you.
The issue of AIDS has hit center court and center stage. As scientists race behind the scenes for a cure, AIDS has become much more of a high-profile disease in the public eye. Jim Hill reports on what that means in the fight against AIDS.
It may not have been Wimbledon or the U.S. Open, but it was world-class tennis. Jim Courier and Pete Sampras were just two of the top pros who put on an exhibition before the U.S. Open. It kicked off a 15-month drive to raise $5 million for the Arthur Ashe Foundation, led by the former champion who contracted the AIDS virus.
So now, AIDS is respectable, and none too soon, because some people think that this is really not the scourge that it is painted to be, but my information says differently.
It may indeed be a milestone that AIDS awareness has reached the world of professional tennis, where players have long been stereotyped as selfish and high-strung. But attitudes change, especially when the opponent is an illness and far tougher than any adversary on any court. Since Ashe and earlier, basketball star Magic Johnson announced they were infected with the virus, AIDS has taken on a new face. The Republican National Convention also saw a rather high-profile discussion of AIDS. Mary Fisher told of her infection.
Learn with me the lessons of history and of grace, so my children will not be afraid to say the word AIDS when I am gone. Then their children and yours may not need to whisper it at all.
At the Democratic Convention, there was Elizabeth Glazer. She kept delegates spellbound with the story of how she and her two children were infected with the virus.
My daughter died of AIDS. She did not survive the Reagan administration. I am here because my son and I may not survive 4 more years of leaders who say they care, but do nothing.
With AIDS so far out of the shadows, experts hope the bright light will bring more money.
Well, there are two big issues. One is awareness and incorporating concern about AIDS, concern about the risk for AIDS into everybody's life.
Even the more radical AIDS activists agree.
Because when people see people that they know, that they can identify with, all of a sudden the disease is not something that the other person gets.
The celebritization of AIDS is still not widespread, but it may be a powerful weapon in fighting a disease that is. Jim Hill, CNN, New York.
And now let's turn to Ted Texter for an update on the weather. Ted?
Andrea, settling down just a little bit in upstate New York, through Vermont, back through Pennsylvania and Ohio also. It's been sort of a stormy afternoon into the evening hours, but no let-up in sight, really back west now. Some storms beginning to fire off in parts of Utah, Nevada, across the Sierra Nevada, some flooding problems there, and down near Phoenix also in northern parts of Arizona on through about the Phoenix area, there's been some potential anyway for some flooding. You can see the big storms all with this front now. It's all firing off as the front edges are kind of sag slowly south. Back behind, cooler, drier air, so the upper Midwest in a little bit better shape. Some wraparound now, bringing in cloudiness and maybe some more rain, northern parts of Michigan on into northern Minnesota, Wisconsin through the day tomorrow. At the same time, down in Dixie, it has been clear through this day, some good weather, lots of sunshine, a warm-up in store for tomorrow after a chilly morning and not a real hot afternoon. Still, the rains unfortunately continue down in Florida. Another front there is just dying a very slow death. It looks like it's going to continue to cause rain. Here's a forecast weather map. Let me show you what's going to happen right on through the afternoon tomorrow. Frontal system now, this one up in this part of the country sags further south, makes a couple hundred miles of progress in advance, and it looks like it becomes somewhat stationary there. So rain showers are a real good bet right through the heartland of the nation, south and central United States. In the southwest, too, right on up into the Rockies, it is going to rain through the day tomorrow. Still a little bit of shower activity in the Great Lakes region, and on the coast, a rainy start. Likely we'll see some breakup in that, some sunshine through the afternoon hours. When we come back in just a couple of minutes, we'll talk about temperatures, so stay tuned.
The legendary Ginsu knife. It was the sharpest offer on television. But now there's the next generation. Ginsu World Class. It's quite simply the finest knife in the world.
You mean finer than our famous English knives? Finer than our German knives?
Yes, even finer than our own classic Ginsu. The high-carbon stainless steel blade has incredible strength. Even with abuse like this, it still never needs sharpening. Nothing cuts it like the Ginsu World Class. It's as simple as that. With its unique triple ground curved blade, you could easily pay $100. But not here. Ginsu World Class is yours for only $29.95, complete with this money-back guarantee and this lifetime replacement guarantee. Sharp offer, sharp value. Order now and get these famous Ginsu steak knives plus these accessory knives free. Ginsu World Class, a legendary cut above the rest. Order yours now.
For rush delivery, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-538-7272. Call from the U.S. or Canada. Or send $29.95 plus $4.95 shipping to Ginsu World Class, P.O. Box 8989-N, Buffalo Grove, Illinois, 60089. Order now. Call 1-800-538-7272.
I'm Lauren Sidney. Next week, Tim Robbins stars, writes, and produces a political satire, Bob Roberts. Also, songstress K.D. Lang has a new album. All that and much more on Showbiz Today, 5:30 p.m. Eastern on CNN.
It's coming in from the north, so it's bound to be a little bit cooler. Look at afternoon high temperatures. This is what it will feel like in the shade through the afternoon tomorrow. 60s to the Great Lakes region, upper Midwest. Back across most of the rest of the northern tier of the nation, 70s the case. Remember now, back behind the front. Get ahead of it, though. It's a little bit milder, a little bit more muggy, in fact. Through most of Dixie in the south and central United States, a good chance for rain showers here. Through Texas, further eastward as well. In the north and the eastern United States, along most of the seaboard, it looks like in pretty good shape. 70s, 80s, 90s as you get down into most of about the southern half of Georgia and into South Carolina. Florida as well in the 80s, the southernmost part in the 90s. Once again, another kind of hot, sticky day there. Into Sunday evening we take you. Show you the front now. Still somewhat stationary, wrapping on around down through Texas, and the rain, the moisture moves on further northward into the high plains. So rain showers a good bet all the way up into the Dakotas, up into Big Sky country. Some rain showers there. North and west, just over my shoulder here, some more light rain there. And down in Dixie, the high is giving way. It looks like between the fronts there will be some rain. Into Tuesday morning, still the showers do continue, especially on the plains. All of this moving just a little bit further north and east, the flow of the moisture that way. So by Tuesday, still some rain showers there. The north and the eastern United States at the same time will be drying up very nicely. Now these forecasts for cities around the nation in more detail. Nice blue skies, maybe good for a little flying through the day tomorrow in a good bit of the country. Now here's Andrea.
Thanks, Ted. The legendary Memphis Bell set records for its bombing missions during World War II. Well, this weekend, bells of a different sort were ringing beneath the B-17. Colonel Robert Morgan, who flew the Memphis Bell during the war, and Linder Dickerson, an aviation buff, were married, standing under the historic plane. Well, Morgan never married Margaret Polk, the now-deceased Memphis woman whose image is painted on the nose of the bomber, but Morgan says he thinks Polk would approve of the wedding. The new bride met Morgan when she booked him and his co-pilot as speakers at an aircraft event in Florida. Well, during World War II, the Memphis Belle became the first B-17 to complete 25 bombing raids over German-occupied Europe. The romance between the pilot and the girl left behind was a part of the story that became legend, if not fact.
Americans enjoy some of the world's best health care, and they are living longer than ever. As the population ages, the nation is going to have to meet its changing needs. Some communities already are giving older Americans a chance to stay busy and happy, as well as healthy. Linda Joyce reports.
Aging in the United States, Kathy Hafler is 90.
Well, I have a sister, she's 95, and the other sister, 94.
Senior citizens 65 and older make up the fastest growing population in the U.S. today. Cities nationwide grapple with shrinking budgets and an increased need for programs to serve them.
We don't have grandma and grandpa down the road being taken care of by their daughter or by their son or by their extended family. A lot of the seniors that we serve, that are served in this community, don't have any linkages. They don't have any resources of their own.
Palo Alto may be leading the country in caring for senior citizens. In this Bay Area community, seniors make up 20% of the population, which is greater than the national average. The Senior Citizen Center provides the transportation and an array of classes to keep them active. In this hall, they study safe driving tips. The center also teaches computer classes, holds dances, and serves lunch.
Got everything here. Everything for people to enjoy.
One of the big concerns in Palo Alto is how do we keep our seniors in the community? What allows them to remain active participants? Housing is key, transportation is key.
By the year 2000, people 65 and older will make up 13% of the population. And by the year 2030, that percentage will climb to 21%. The age wave will sweep across this country as baby boomers start to gray.
Hi, Betty. This is Walter Bortz.
This 62-year-old physician says today's seniors need to feel wanted by society as much as they need services. Walter Bortz says seniors used to be revered, not anymore.
They were the keepers of the flame. They were the keepers of the archives. They've been through the draughts and the tough times. Now we've devalued that. Too bad the technology devalues wisdom. We need to reinvest that into the system.
I'm having fun.
Geriatric experts say people don't realize that most seniors live independently. Only 5% end up in nursing homes.
If we can dispel one myth, it would be that somehow something snaps inside a person when they reach a certain age and they automatically become old. I've seen old people at age 20 and young people at age 70.
Learning how to be productive for what could be another 30 years of life, the challenge for senior citizens and every city in the country. Linda Joyce for CNN, San Francisco.
Oldsmobile redefines quality. Here's proof. Call 1-800-THE-TEST to get independent test results from a 100,000-mile real-world test of the new Oldsmobile Achieva against Honda Accord and Toyota Camry. Learn how Achieva outperformed Accord and Camry in total cost, which includes maintenance, repair, and operating costs. You'll even get a free video documenting the test. Achieva, quality redefined, from the company that went far enough to prove it. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
San Antonio, where we predict you'll have the best time every time. So, before you plan your next convention or vacation, give us a call.
So, you just got a cash advance, did you? Too bad you used an ordinary credit card. Because you could be carrying some very heavy interest charges. Why not carry the Discover card? Just pay your full monthly balance and a small transaction fee, and we'll forget the interest. Which means our money comes with no strings attached. It pays to Discover.
Monday, you find them in your mailbox. They name you a winner. Most are legitimate, but are some designed to take you and your money. When a scheme is labeled sweepstakes, a CNN special assignment, 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday.
Images of tragedy, disaster, misery, and despair are brought into homes around the world courtesy of television. Do people become emotionally numb from regular exposure to horrendous realities? Do they learn to tune out, or do they feel compassion and empathy with the victims? CNN's Jamie McIntyre takes a look at the effect of compelling video images on the human psyche.
Pictures powerfully make the case. War is hell. And so is starvation, and persecution, and deprivation. These images from around the world have changed the world. Public shock pressuring governments to act.
The world cannot shed its horror at the prospect of concentration camps. The shocking brutality of genocide in World War II, in those concentration camps, are burning memories for all of us.
And moving individuals to give.
If people can develop a relationship with that victim, if they see in their own living rooms what is happening in another part of the world, that brings it much closer to them and makes them more able to respond.
The American Red Cross says disaster contributions earmarked for Somalia have risen in direct proportion to the amount of news media coverage given the tragedy. But critics say television, while it can move the masses, is slow to turn its cameras on distant disasters and quick to turn away when a new crisis emerges. Remember last spring's earthquake in Turkey? Few Americans do.
We saw that very clearly in the earthquake in Turkey, where when it first broke out, people went in, the images were coming back here, people were responding, but once the media left the area, the response stopped.
And some argue the constant barrage of horrific images blunts their impact, numbing viewers into a state of compassion fatigue.
People say they've run out of compassion. They don't have the energy anymore to weep, to feel something on behalf of distant people they've never met, they can't know, they never will meet.
But fundraising officials say these disturbing pictures continue to make Americans more sensitive, not less.
Last year, that was Americans gave 16% more to international affairs than they gave the year before, and they had given 30% more the year before. In America, we are a very giving society, very giving society.
How about baby food?
Yeah.
Baby food, there you go.
If there is fault to be found, say charitable organizations, it's with the lack of follow-up reporting, telling people exactly how to help. Jamie McIntyre, CNN, Washington.
Well, that's it for this edition of Prime News. Thank you for joining us. I'm Andrea Arsenault in Atlanta.
I'm David French in Washington. A news update followed by Week in Review just ahead as CNN Weekend continues.
Summer clearance is ending. Time is running out on the best buys of the year with great deals on the all-new Camry.
Plus, you can get great savings on Tercel, America's lowest price sedan.
Get option package savings, even on the sporty Celica. Your Toyota dealer's working overtime with factory incentives and option savings on tough trucks.
So it's your last shot at Toyota-thon savings.
Hurry to your Toyota dealer now before these Toyota-thon clearance savings are history.
Are those bills still piling up? I'm Tom Drake. Federal law allows you to work out a payment plan for your car note, house note, credit cards, anything you owe. For more information, call and talk to me. I'm Tom Drake. If you've been hurt in an accident that was not your fault, you should not have to pay the bills. But do you have to go to court? Find out what your options are and don't go to court alone.
There's no charge for the initial consultation. Get the information about your options, then make a decision. Thomas J. Drake Jr., Parkway Towers, Nashville.
Lay it on the
French roll, lay it on a bun. Lay it on a double-decker, lay on the fun.
Nothing calms restless natives like Lay's hot dogs, the purest, best-tasting hot dogs ever to grace a campfire. So if you want to keep the wild Indians at bay, just lay in a good supply of Lay's hot dogs.
Lunchtime, snack time, any time of day. Lay on the flavor with Lay's.
Lay on the flavor with Lay's.
What makes Restonic mattresses so superior to all the others? Find out now at Haverty's pre-Labor Day sale. Restonic gives you the unique support where you appreciate it most. What makes right now the best time to purchase a Restonic sleep system? It's Haverty's Bed of Roses offer. Purchase a Restonic Bed of Roses sleep set and receive a matching set of Fieldcrest sheets. Hurry into Haverty's now for the pre-Labor Day Bed of Roses sale. 12 months interest-free, 36 months to pay. See store for details. During Haverty's pre-Labor Day sale going on now.
This is CNN.
Welcome to CNN Weekend. I'm Andrea Arsenault. Topping our news this hour, health officials are stressing the need for sanitation in hurricane-ravaged South Florida, and they're urging residents to take extra precautions to avoid disease. CNN's John Holloman reports.
Jose Ramirez lost a lot in Hurricane Andrew. Much of his home is destroyed, and he's going to have to spend thousands of dollars to rebuild. But at least